today on Ami's Adventures.
What's going to get you the best deal is, can you be flexible? To save your finances in case something happens, spend a few bucks and make sure you have a policy.
Shrimp taco and a cauliflower.
To be medically evacuated is going to start about 40 grand.
Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ami, my pronouns are he, him, and on this channel I talk about my journey as a black, queer, trans, expat, and world traveler, ups and downs, everything in between. If you want to go on that journey, make sure you go down below and smash the subscribe button. Today I have a special guest with me, the one, the only, Adalia from Picky Girls Travels the World. Hello.
Hola, hola.
We are here with y'all in Mexico City, specifically in Roma Norte. We had planned to, that's the park over there?
Yeah, that's the part.
Financial tips. So enough fish tacos, time for the tips. So we are in Roma Norte and we're chilling at a park. As y'all can see, it's pretty chill over here. It's really beautiful. Adalia has 5 financial tips for travelers. So today's video, we're going to be discussing things that you may need to know if you're out here traveling. I know a lot of people on my channel want to know about finance. I have the expert here, Adalia, to give y'all some gems about finances and traveling. So for anyone that does not know who Adalia is, she is an amazing financial educator and also a YouTuber, where on her channel she does a great job at meeting at the intersection of finances and travel. She talks about how if you are a person that wants to move abroad, to travel, or just live a life that's not tied down to spending unnecessary money because you don't know the nuances of finances and financial freedom, she is the person that you need to talk to. So let's get into it. So Adalia, what would you say was your first tip for finance?
One of the things that gets asked a lot is about like how to get money when you're in a foreign country. And the best answer for that, of course, is to use your ATM card. So, but that's not the tip, okay? That is a tip, but that's not the tip. My big tip as far as ATM cards are concerned is only use your ATM card to go to the ATM. Don't, in another country, even in your home country, honestly, don't use your debit card to purchase things. Because here's the thing, if somebody's going to commit fraud, if they're going to skim your card information, it's connected to your bank account where all of your money is. The amount of liability that you have is pretty much total. So if they drain your entire bank account, the bank probably is not going to do anything. As opposed to using a credit card, where with the vast majority of credit card companies, your liability is about $50. So if I'm looking at being out $50 or all of my money, $50 is a lot better. So that's my number one tip. In a foreign country, only use your ATM card, your debit card, to go to the ATM. Make your purchases either in cash or use a credit card that doesn't have stupid fees attached to it.
That is amazing advice, Adalia. Is there a specific type of card? Are there any cards you want to mention for folks that are really good to have for traveling?
Well, and that kind of leads into my second tip, is to make sure that you're not paying unnecessary fees. There are lots of fees that banks dream up as a way to make money, because they're not being your bank because they like you and they want to be your friend. They want to make money. So everybody talks about opening a Charles Schwab account.
I am everyone. Hi.
I use a Fidelity cash management account, which is the same thing as the account they have at Fidelity. And the advantage to those accounts is, one, they rebate ATM fees anywhere in the world. 2, they do not charge you conversion fees. They don't charge you foreign transaction fees. They don't charge you any of that. But what people don't often realize is that's only on ATM activity. With Fidelity, if you use your ATM card to make a purchase, those fees kick in. With credit cards, I don't necessarily recommend a specific credit card, but what you want is a credit card that does not have foreign transaction fees, that does not do any kind of currency conversion fees, none of that kind of stuff. Because it might sound like, oh, well, it's just 3%. that 3% adds up. So I use a Capital One card. Who is somebody else that I use? Because I'm trying to think, all of my credit cards do not charge any kind of fees. I have an American Express, Delta, Sky Miles card that there are no fees attached to it. So I don't believe in paying to get your access to your money.
I think that is definitely really great advice, especially I know for me, when I moved abroad, I had 3 cards. My Charles Schwab card, which I like, Adalia just said, I'm gonna stick beside it forever. But also I had a Wells Fargo card. I have a Wells Fargo card, which is horrible with fees. Like, this is the card that I opened when I was in college that, you know, was the card I used the most. But moving abroad, every single time I'm buying something, I'm seeing 10 cents here, 16 cents here, 50 cents here every time I make a transaction for those foreign transaction fees, for those conversion fees. And then at a certain point, you really realize how much that stuff adds up. So I definitely think those 2 tips are very important. So we already have some really great tips. So let's get ready for tip number 3. Adalia, what is your 3rd financial tip for travelers?
You need to have backups. I think there sometimes is a disconnect. We know that bad stuff can happen, unexpected things can happen, but do we actually have a plan in place for in case those things happen? So if you're traveling, if you're moving abroad, you never only want to go with one ATM card. You don't want one bank account. You don't want to have one credit card, because what happens if the ATM machine eats your card, or for some reason, because there's a lot of financial fraud in foreign countries, your bank, trying to protect you, freezes your account, but you need access to cash. If you only have one bank account, you're screwed, okay? So you want to have backup credit cards, backup more than one bank account, and you also need to have like a backup person. There has to be somebody in your life that you trust enough that maybe you add them on your credit card, or you add them to a bank account, because let's say you get caught up some kind of way. You get picked up in an immigration sweep, you get hit in the head with a coconut, and they put you in the hospital. Somebody needs to come get you. You could hope that somebody has the funds available, or if somebody's on your credit card, they can use your card to buy that ticket to come bail you out of immigration detention, or, you know, get you out of the ICU from your coconut injury or whatever. So you don't want, because as seamless as things might appear that they can be, like, oh, I can access all of my accounts from abroad, blah, 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 you always need a backup. You always need an alternative. I have been abroad since 2016, and I have had the situation where I needed to get cash. I went to an ATM. They claimed they took hundreds of dollars out of my account, except it didn't. So that bank put a freeze on my ATM card, but I still needed the cash. So luckily I had another account. You know, I had other ways of moving money, other ways of accessing my money. So you always need to have a backup.
I think what Adalia said about having backups is so true. I know for me personally, like I told you, I have my 2 little accounts, but one thing I did before I moved abroad is, since I was young and things like that, I left money, a lump sum of money, with a family member before I moved abroad. Why? Because I thought about my worst case scenarios. What if all my accounts get frozen, I get scammed, whatever, I'm stuck. I have someone that I know I can trust, that I know is going to have the money, because don't give it to your cousin that said, oh, you know, I took out $600 of that money, but I had to get my card, but I'm gonna put it back. No. So make sure you have, whatever that means for you, make sure you have assets or ways that you can access money that's just not tied to just one account or one specific stream of income, because you might be buying yourself on the foot. And the banks do freeze your account sometimes, so make sure you also put on travel notifications. I've had that trouble where I've swiped my card and it says decline, and I'm like,
I can remember standing in the airport in Bahrain, and I forgot to call the bank ahead of time, and I needed cash so I could take a taxi. So I'm, trying to figure out things. I'm calling, and at Fidelity, they wanted to verify it was me, and they were like, well, can you tell us where all you've been in the last 6 months? And I was like, everywhere. So
6 months.
And so I was like, I was in this country, and then this country, and then this country, and this country, and I'm going down the list, and finally, I know this isn't part of the security screening. The guy's like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm just living my life. But yeah, I will say Capital One no longer requires you to put on a travel notification.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know why that is, but I am appreciative of it because I do not always remember to do that.
I forget, and I'll be at the airport or somewhere, the first stop I go. And the thing is, sometimes that first transaction will go through, and then that second one, I'll be like, you'll get in dinner and be like, decline. I'm like, I know there's money on this, a card, and then I'll be like, oh, I didn't put a travel notice on there. So, all right, y'all. So let's get Adalia's 4th financial tip for travelers.
You always hear people say, well, you got to have travel insurance. I want to add some clarification to that. There is trip insurance and there is travel insurance, and they are not the same thing, even though people often refer to them in the same way. When I say trip insurance, I'm talking about the insurance that covers a delayed flight, lost or damaged baggage. It probably might cover, like, if you've got delays, if something happened that's out of your control. Travel insurance, when people say you need to have travel insurance, what they're saying is you need a plan that is going to cover you if you become ill or incapacitated in another country, if you need to be medically evacuated, because we're talking about financial tips for travelers. Yes, medical care is usually considerably cheaper outside the U.S. However, to be medically evacuated is going to start about 40 grand. To save your finances in case something happens, spend a few bucks and make sure you have a policy that is going to cover medical evacuation, is going to cover medical treatment, because you can be anywhere and bite down on something and crack a molar. That's not stuff that just happens when you're at home.
That is definitely true, and I'm gonna say it's true for 2 reasons. Number one, as y'all have been with me since the beginning, y'all know I chipped my tooth in Monte, Ecuador. Luckily, that costs $50 to fix. Y'all want to see about that? You can check out this video right here. But that is so true. All right, Adalia, I'm sad, but we're coming up on the 5th and final finance tip for travelers. What do you have for us?
Final tip I have in order to save money is to be flexible. You hear people talk about that there is a specific day of the week that you should buy your airline ticket a certain time. There's been nothing proven to substantiate that, because flight prices move. Like, there's this whole separate thing that airlines are doing that there's nothing us people on the outside can do. So really, what's going to get you the best deal is, can you be flexible? Can you travel during off-peak seasons? Can you be willing to follow, instead of having your heart set on, I want to be in Hawaii in March, but there's a flight deal in March for Tokyo, maybe you go to Tokyo, because maybe prices for Hawaii are really, really expensive. Being flexible on your destination, when you go, where you stay. Flexibility is really what's going to save you the most money as you travel.
That definitely, I think, is a really great tip, because I think as a young traveler, as someone that has lived abroad for a year and a half, and at times I have not had much money, I think having flexibility on where I'm going, having flexibility on like where I'm staying and kind of what that looks like. Like, I've even talked about things like workaway and stuff like that. Being flexible really can make a difference and save you a lot of money, because a lot of times people are wasting money because they're set on a specific date, a specific time, a specific place, and if it's not that way, then you will pay for that. So Adalia, how can people connect with you? How can people, if they love these tips that you have today, how can they get more of Picky Girl Travels the World?
Come on over to my YouTube channel. There are tons of videos about finances and living abroad, particularly like how to manage your money, what are the money moves you need to make before you leave the US or leave your home country. So YouTube is a great place. I'm sometimes over on Instagram, primarily in my stories, but yeah, YouTube would be the best place to find me.
Awesome. So y'all heard it here. Go ahead and go check out Picky Girl Travels Adalia on YouTube. Also, I have her YouTube and her Instagram link down below. Like I said earlier, y'all, finances is not my strong suit. I'm 25, but I'm getting it together. So that's why I'm very thankful to have someone like Adalia to be on the channel to give y'all some insights and also share that there are channels out here that are talking about these things. So y'all can get the wild adventures of me living abroad, but also you can get really important information that Adalia is sharing about her journey and finances on her channel as well. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and check out the links below in my bio to connect with Adalia. If you like this video, make sure you go down there and slightly tap that like button. And if you like to continue on this journey of Ami's adventures, make sure you smash the subscribe button. Thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all next time. Peace.